Today, we're gonna cover how much to pay your virtual assistant from the Philippines. I'm Zach, I'm the founder of Talented. We place talent from the Philippines in 7- and 8-figure e-commerce businesses. We have an Amazon store that does $1 million a year in revenue, and I've been hiring from the Philippines since 2021. So I'm making this video because I see too many founders that make a job posting for $2 an hour starting salary and then are surprised at the quality of talent that ends up applying. So I'm sharing with you the structure that I found to produce the best results to build my own team as well as all of our clients at Talented. I want you to attract and hire the perfect VA for your e-commerce business, and one day I hope that you work with us to find your next overseas hire. We'll break down why $2 an hour hiring is a trap that I fell into myself, how to figure out what to actually offer as the base salary, how to structure the bonus potential to align your incentives, and then benefits, wrapping it all together. If you're hiring for $2 an hour, you can't be surprised when you get $2 worth of work. I used to fall for it too. Like I said, $300 a month for a full-time employee sounds great. How bad can they really be? After years of hiring from the Philippines, I've learned that paying the lowest salary possible is costing me more in the long run. If you look at it like an iceberg, yeah, it looks great, $2 an hour, but that doesn't account for them having no adaptability, poor work quality, giving you increased stress, lost productivity, and much more. I think it fails because, as the old saying goes, you get what you pay for. The kind of talent, if I make a job posting for $2 an hour, the kind of people that are applying to that are not the ones that I want to work with. Those are candidates that have low agency. They need to be micromanaged to just complete the normal tasks of their job. And often they're working 2 full-time jobs to make up for it. So they have a $2 an hour job here and a $2 an hour job here, hoping you don't find out. Really, it's a gamble. You're training 10, hoping that 1 sticks around, which is when turnover comes in. They say that you're estimated to lose at least half their annual salary. So $2 an hour, that's $2,000. Multiplied by 10, I'm not that good at math, but it's a good amount of money that you'd be losing from turnover. Not only through the time you lose, but also the opportunity cost, the output you could have had if you started with a solid budget from the beginning. The hiring mindset I had to shift was from an expense to an investment. You could have 2 identical looking resumes, but it doesn't tell you anything about the kind of person they are, how they're actually gonna perform in the job. Paying $2 an hour seems like the cheaper option until you extrapolate it over like a year timeline, say. Through the repeated hiring time it takes, the longer training time, the lost time from the mistakes you have to correct, and the lost opportunities from low efficiency. Say if you just started at $5 an hour in the start, you wouldn't have all these hidden costs involved, and it actually ends up being cheaper. Instead of asking, how little can I pay? What's the cheapest I can get someone? What if we asked, how much is my time worth? What's the real value of getting these tasks done right? And how far could I go if I hired the right people, if I had a good team around me? My salary philosophy is having a base structure that keeps them secure and then unlimited upside potential through our bonus structure. Your VA salary structure is like building a skyscraper. You have that strong foundation here so they can build all the way up to the clouds. In order to determine the market rate, the 2 buckets that I put it into, it's very simple. No direct experience or has direct experience. There's pros and cons to each. I cover that in another video. Today we're just gonna focus on the monetary side of it. So if you're looking for no direct experience, I've found the best success in the $3 to $5 an hour range. In that you're looking for someone with strong English skills, high computer proficiency, and then all the character stuff like problem ownership, long-term oriented. If you're looking for direct experience, then the salary range I look at is $5 to $10 an hour, $1,800 a month being the max. We're still looking for those base requirements, that high character, good mindset, but now we have to actually know how to test ourselves for competence or have someone that knows how to test for competence in that skill, because resumes can say what they want. Actually being able to perform at that skill is a different story. I always make my job postings with a range, and then I ask them to fit themselves in that range because there's a lot of factors that come into it, such as time zone alignment, years of experience in that role or just working in general, if they have leadership background, the complexity of the role, and several others. The cultures of the United States and the Philippines, they have a lot of similarities, but they also have some differences. One of the most notable ones being the US is seen as a more risk-taking culture. Variable pay is more common. If you think of like a sales rep or even down to a waiter getting tips, In the Philippines, I find they value a secure, predictable income. They want that peace of mind because they're a lot more family oriented. So I meet a lot of like single mothers, a lot of people that are providing for their family. And so they want to know that they can do that without having to seek external work. Also in the United States, job hopping is more normal, whereas in the Philippines, I find they want to stay for the long term, stay with the company for 5-10 years to come. The high performers are going to excel with the proper incentives. The key is to align those incentives through a good bonus structure. There's a couple ways to do that. There's profit share, how much they contributed to the actual bottom line. This is gonna make you both more money and it's gonna scale easily with your company, but you have to know your numbers well, not only from a bookkeeping perspective, but also from an attribution perspective. So knowing how much they contributed to that for real. The other drawback being it can put someone in a short-term mindset. Think of like a CFO cutting all the marketing expenses so stock goes up next quarter, that sort of thing. Revenue share, very similar to the profit, where it's a percentage of what they helped generate. On target earnings, so commissions from hitting KPIs, this is common with sales roles. It's good because it's easy to calculate on an individual basis. The drawback being it's not always tied to a favorable outcome. It's a leading indicator, meaning just because you had really good KPIs hit doesn't necessarily mean that the profit is going to reflect that. Then tier performance, similar, where they get nominal rewards for hitting specific KPIs. This is great because you have a short feedback loop. They do the good action, they get the reward, whereas profit revenue would be quite a delay until they get that, and also it can be non-monetary. It doesn't have to be just straight up cash. Drawbacks being it's not going to scale well because you're always having to update the standards, update the KPIs, the targets, and again, leading indicator. Here are some examples of bonus structures. This is going to depend a lot on how you run your company as well as the role you're hiring for. The first example is for a sales role. That could be, say, 10% of profit generated. So if your net profit was 10 grand for the month, they contributed 20% to that, $600 bonus. For a customer service role, if you have a KPI of 100% of cases responded within 12 hours, and they hit that for the month, then they get $200 bonus. For an appointment setter, you could have a rate per action above the target. So say if your monthly target was 500 calls and they did 600 calls, then paying 50 cents per number above, $50. For a reconciliation role, if they recovered 10 grand for you, paying them out a bonus of 2% of the amount they recovered. Then if you have a content team, having them compete for the highest TikTok impressions for the week, and the winner gets 2 days extra off. And the final example for an Amazon product researcher. Say if you have a weekly spend goal of 20 grand, if they hit that, they get a $100 Shopee bonus. Again, this is gonna depend greatly on your company, the role you're hiring for, as well as the kind of person you're dealing with. So you have to test to see what produces the best results within your team. Now, if I'm having someone come on full-time as a team member, I wanna make sure they have everything they need to succeed and be at their best. And part of that is having a good benefit structure. The first part of this is 13th month pay. If you have not hired from the Philippines before, it might be a new concept. It was to me. It's basically 1 month's salary paid at the end of the year. In the Philippines locally, it's required, but because we're hiring overseas, not necessarily required. However, it does raise the effectiveness of your job posting. They see that, oh, this person has some cultural background, some cultural context of the Philippines. We have on our website a calculator for it. It's not that hard of a calculation, but it is prorated for the first year. Next would be local holidays. So there's around 18 standard holidays. Obviously, I give those all paid time off for my team. We have the calendar on our website as well. And if you want it on your Google Calendar, you can put your Gmail at the bottom. And then paid time off. There's two common ways to do this. One is unlimited with approval. The other is accruing like 2 days a month. I always go for the unlimited because it's a great selling point. I don't have to do any tracking, and if they leave, I don't have to pay out unused days. The cons being obviously harder to predict, and without having clear guidelines, they can abuse it. With the 2 days a month, you have more predictability, but you'll see hoarding where someone is trying to reach a certain amount, say 14 days, and so they just work, they don't take any days off, they just work straight, and that leads to burnout. So I like to go for the unlimited. The return of having a good benefits package includes increasing the pool of applicants to choose from, increase loyalty on your team, decrease burnout, they're taking the time when they need it, and cultivating a positive team culture. Now, to actually implement this into your business, you start off with the base salary range. figuring out what that's going to be, then defining the most valuable KPIs and structuring your bonus around hitting those, then your benefits package, then writing the job posting to include all these aspects clearly. It's really, the job posting is about creating a value proposition for this candidate, why they should apply to you, why they should work with your company. And then finally, publicly tracking the progress towards those KPIs. If you enjoyed this video, then you'll enjoy this one too. It's a full breakdown on my 2-week hiring campaign for the Philippines. I appreciate you watching the end, and I'll see you in the next video.